Good morning and welcome to the ScuttleButt Podcast. I am your host, Amanda, and I am the CEO and founder of Untamed Fitness and Martial Arts up here in Seattle, Washington. So I hope you guys are having an amazing day. It's Thursday, nice and beautifully rainy, just as it should be, March in Seattle. But today, what I wanted to talk about is why stretching is overrated. Now, some of you guys that know me, like, wait a minute, like, what, Amanda, you tell me to stretch all of the time. So let's kind of unpack this a little bit. Stretching is great. However, is useless if you do not take care of yourself otherwise. Let me say that again. Stretching is great. However, it is completely useless if you do not do anything else to recover yourself. What am I talking about? So let's say you just started a new workout routine, or you've just completely started an entirely new hobby, right? Like usually this comes with starting martial arts or soccer, or anything where you're putting a lot of physical strain on your body. And you had a lot of fun, and then you wake up the next day, you literally can't get out of bed, like you can't move your legs. I remember the first time I ever did a straight leg deadlift. If you guys know what I'm talking about, cool. If not, it's not important to the story. But the first time I ever did a straight leg deadlift, I remember I was lifting I want to say it was like 35-pound kettlebell. And I was just like, all right, whatever. Like I guess I feel something, but you know what? I think I'm stronger than that. I was like in at the time I was feeling myself really, really hard, right? So I was like, okay, I'll go up to like 45. Okay, you know what? I'll go up to 55. I went up to the 75-pound kettlebell, which I didn't even know they made it that big, right? And that was when I was finally feeling something, right? In these straight leg deadlifts. So, get down with my reps, go about my day. I wake up the next day and I kid you not, my legs were like completely stuck in like the curled hamstring position. Like I could not even sit down in a chair because my hamstrings were so sore and tired and tight that like I couldn't even think about the word stretching. Oh man. Like that was when I realized there's a reason why people do a progression versus just going as heavy as possible all the time, right? Anyways, so yeah, I was trying to like stretch. Literally stretching was just like me standing and trying to like lean over a little bit. Like oh man, my hamstrings were so sore. And besides the immediate regret of like, oh no, tomorrow's gonna be worse. Um, I was trying to do all of these things to recover myself. However, as I now come a little bit more into, like deeper into the knowledge well of the fitness world, right? I realize how important it is to drink water, eat correct food, foam roll, use a lacrosse ball, and stretch. So all of those things need to happen in order for you to recover correctly. If you don't, then like you're literally setting yourself up for a world of hurt, literally. So let's go back to why stretching is useless, right? Let's say I was preparing for my impossibly heavy deadlift for absolutely no reason whatsoever, right? And I was stretching my hamstrings, like, okay, you know what? Got a nice stretch in. What you do like 30 seconds aside, right? Um, and then you go into your workouts, and then you're like, oh, I don't know how I got injured. I stretched. But did you? Did you really? I feel like stretching gives you a false sense of security and really doesn't do much. Like the better things that you could be doing are dynamic movements, which is where you are moving like arm swings, right? Like kind of back slappers or arm swings forward, arm swings back, leg swings, mobility training. So like hip openers, chest openers, twisty movements. There's like different things that are going to be activated. You don't want to just like passively stretch the muscle, especially if you've been using it a lot and it might already have knots in it. I even so look at, imagine this nice elastic band is your muscle, right? So you can stretch it, right? Stretching it definitely warms it up a little bit, right? But what if you've been using it a lot? It's got a knot in it, right? So if I stretch this muscle that has a knot, it's still tight. I'm not addressing the issue, which is the knot in my muscle. In order to do that, you need a foam roller, which is this, or if you really want to go all in on it, you need a lacrosse ball, right? So lacrosse ball or tennis ball, just depending on what you do, like note, make sure that you're not just like going in there willy-nilly like, oh yeah, I was listening to a podcast that a personal trainer told me to use this and I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna like fool around with it, because you can hurt yourself doing this incorrectly. So reach out to me or a personal trainer that you know. Not all personal trainers are skilled in like it's called self myofascial release, or yeah, that makes sense. And it's pretty much just like rolling out the fascia that is the net that wraps around your muscle tissue. It's rolling out the actual muscle tissue. It's making sure that there's blood flow going to the area, especially like I said, if it's like a well-worked area, such as usually quads and shoulders are the two big main points that get kind of like gummied up as you progress through your workout programs. But yeah, foam, like if you know that you're feeling sore, like light foam rolling. This one that I have here is trigger point. This is probably like one of the most like, you know, I don't know, like I don't want to say famous, but like well-known ones, just because it's like hard enough to give you that muscle release. However, it's soft enough that you're not just going to be like I literally rolled on a PVC pipe as a foam roller, and I don't know how this gym got away with it. But you know, soft is good for like making sure that your muscle can adequately release the tension and the knot. When it comes to recovery, I usually will look towards what intense athletes always do, never skip, in order to make sure that I am properly recovering myself, right? I'm not a pro level athlete, but I do use my body, you know, put it through a lot of wear and tear throughout my fitness training, fight training, all that stuff. I want to say number one thing, if you don't do anything else, if you're working out and you want your body to be in the best recovery mode, eat correctly as well as enough. So a lot of people will actually end up, they actually just don't eat enough. You think it's the opposite. It's like, oh, I eat too much calories or whatever. It's like, actually, you're probably eating too many fats, but you're probably not eating enough of the good stuff that you're supposed to be having, such as like carbs for energy and protein for muscle recovery. Fats are good for, you know, like your immune system and some of like the side side projects that your body does, right? But like carbs and protein are the big ones. And fats, usually it's like you don't have to add fats to your diet really, because you get enough of it just eating the stuff that you're already supposed to be eating, such as like avocado and olive oil, all that good stuff. So make sure that you're eating enough, you're eating correctly. If you are going to bed hungry, or if you're like having cravings late at night, it means that something's off. You're either not eating enough calories overall, or you're not eating enough of the right stuff. So like having extra protein, especially when you're starting a new workout program, even if it means you gain a little bit of weight, like literally just like 2 to 4 pounds at the beginning of a workout program, that's totally fine. Like as your body readdresses and adjusts to your new program, that weight's going to just go away. Secondly, Sleep well. Sleeping is when your body recovers, right? A lot of the time it's the thing that kind of falls off of us taking care of ourselves. And all of a sudden we wonder why we're cranky and we're not losing weight like we used to, and I'm tired and now I'm injured. Like my goal for training for the last literally 8 years, right, is always avoid injury at all costs, even if that means you have to go to bed an hour early. Like every time that I switch over workout programs, whenever I increase my intensity a little bit, I go from sleeping a normal level of 6 hours for me to 10 hours. And like at first I was guilting myself, like, oh my God, I'm sleeping 10 hours. I'm like, what is, I could wake up and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I so tired? And then I would force myself to still sleep in my 6 hour window. And I'd wake up and my body would just be sore and it would hurt and I was tired. And I had no idea what was going on. And I was like really starting to worry of like, oh man, like is my age finally catching up with me? I'm only 32. Like, come on, it's not that soon, right? And so I gave myself a little bit of grace and I was like, all right, let's just see what happens. I'm going to let my body sleep for as long as it needs to just this week. After that, it'll readjust. Like my knowledge of this stuff in my head, I know it's going to readjust. But it's like that thing of like, like I'm being, like I'm being lazy because I'm sleeping and taking care of myself, which is a weird thing to believe. But, you probably have heard it or believe it or know somebody that believes that as well, right? So, yeah, I give myself whatever extra amount of sleep that my body needs for that first initial switchover week. And after that, like, even though my body needs a little bit more sleep, it's not a forever thing. It's usually about like a week and a half that I have to sleep those 10 hours. And then after that, I go back to my 6 hour normal amount of time that I normally sleep. So, give yourself grace, especially if you're starting a new workout program or integrating into a higher intensity of one. Um, don't overuse caffeine. I'm like looking at my coffee right now as I'm thinking about this. But really, anytime that you're super tired in the afternoon and you want to reach for coffee, that's more of a habit than a craving. Reach for water first. I usually drink about what is it, like a 16 to 20 ounce cup of water. Especially when I'm like feeling tired and sluggish in the afternoon, because usually that's your brain saying, hey, I'm dehydrated. I need something, right? So reach for water first. If that doesn't do the trick, have a small cup of coffee, not, the giant 64-ounce coffee that you get from the gas station. Um, Also, for recovery, make sure that you are foam rolling. You are setting aside an entire hour, you heard me, 60 minutes of foam rolling or lacrosse balling, as well as stretching once a week. Like stretching by itself for 30 seconds before you go into your workout is like you're really not doing anything. You're just wasting your own time. I don't like to waste my time. So make sure that you're setting aside that little bit of time. Today's actually Thursday, so this is my foam rolling day. And no matter how busy I get, how much things I think that I have on my plate, I know that my body being healthy is a number one priority. If I don't have my health, I have nothing. And especially in the line of work that I have where I'm a personal trainer, I'm a mom, I'm a fighter. I do all these things and all of them rely on me being in the best physical shape of my life. Every time that I've gotten out of fight camp and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna binge food while everything, blah, blah, blah. I'll like eat pizza and, have fried chicken and drink and like all this stuff. And all it does is make my body feel terrible. And I'm setting like only time I've ever been injured in the last, I want to say like 3 years has been after fight camp. During fight camp, when I'm eating great, I'm sleeping well, I'm exercising correctly, like I'm in my peak physical condition. After fight camp, all of a sudden, everything kind of goes to the wayside. My sleep gets off, my eating gets off. I'm not recovering anymore. I'm not doing my foam rolling. I'm not working out as much, my mindset is way worse. Like my mindset goes from like I'm on top of the world to like why does anyone do anything? And it's oh man, it's like very it's so interesting to me. Like I'm so interested in fitness because I've been studying this consistently, like at least twice a day, reading something new about fitness for the last 8 years. And I still feel like I haven't gotten nearly to the bottom of the barrel, like maybe not even like halfway down the barrel, right? There's so much information. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of like pseudoscience in there, but there's just so many things that are involved in fitness and fighting and nutrition and sleep and all of this stuff that goes around it, like recovery. But for the most part, the things I'm telling you right now are the big takeaways. Okay. So that's it. That's I hope this was super helpful. Let me know your thoughts. If you guys need help with foam rolling or you've never touched a lacrosse ball for muscle release ever before in your life, reach out to me. I have free videos that can help you guys out because recovery is the greatest thing that you can give to your body. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining me on this week of the ScuttleButt Podcast. Um, Leave a like, share it as wide as possible. Let me know your thoughts, comment below, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, bye.